Crypto, I'm your host, DZ, and today we're talking about the dollar collapsing and how this is good for Bitcoin. We're also going to look at historical gold markets and see, can Bitcoin follow this trajectory? Because gold just hit an all-time high. Bitcoin hit an all-time high months ago, but we're ready for that next all-time high. Hit that like button if you're ready for that. And also today's stream, of course, powered by Arculus. TJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, feeling good. We're seeing a lot of the older coins moving, a lot of the ones we've been talking about, Chainlink, Avalanche, Matic. It's like we picked the pillows correctly. We've had those ones up there for a little while now, and all of a sudden they all start pumping. So yeah, it's fun to see a green day, fun to see the bull market coming back in. It's been sideways and boring. We're still trading in this range, but I can feel the good bullish energy building up all around us.
You can feel it in the air. I can smell it in the air. You know what it smells like? It smells a little bit like alt season. It could be potentially around the corner. Folks, we told you about some trades, we're in. I told all my followers to take profit. And TJ, if you want to share my screen real quick, I don't know. This is the exact minute. This is the 1 minute chart that we're looking at. This is the exact minute I told my followers to take profits. Jeez. I have not looked at the charts to see, how close we were to the local peak there, but we're going to look at that, have some fun. I'm either a genius or I'm the biggest idiot in the world, and we're all going to.
You really haven't looked at that yet?
I haven't. I jerked it up. So I kind of, just to be honest, I kind of pulled up, I pulled up CoinGecko pretty much every morning, just like a lot of you folks do. And you can see the 24 hours. And I remember it was 3:47. I had to look at my tweet, kind of glancing at CoinGecko. It doesn't look like I might be completely off the target. I don't know how close I am to the target, but it's going to be a fun look. But let's look at the crypto market, everybody. I'm going to hit refresh just so we have that fresh data. Bitcoin is up 1%. We are firmly above $60,572. ETH is relatively flat right now. It is only up 0.1%. Some of the coins we talked about have been gaining. BNB is massively up here. TJ, we got a video coming out tonight on a BNB semi-ecosystem play. It's Floki.
Oh,
Chat.
nice.
Does anybody hold some Floki? I was saying in the video, unfortunately I filmed it yesterday, that BNB is due. Yeah. BNB is due for a lot of activity and a lot of pumps. I wish we could have got it out last night. But Josh's on vacation. We were editing it. So it's going out tonight. It looks like the markets might have beat me, though. Hopefully it doesn't front run me completely. Solana is up 1.2%. XRP, it is slightly up, and it is fighting for 60 cents. I know the XRP bulls wanted to hit $500, but first let's hit $1, everyone. And Cardano was also pumping as well.
Nice.
If you watched that Cardano video, you got bullish on Cardano, you bought some Cardano, you're doing great. And folks, I saw someone's in the trade. I think some people are in a Chainlink trade as well. We told you Avalanche is looking bullish. I opened a long. Here, let me go ahead and pull it up. When you look at the chart, you see exactly where I jumped in on my trade. Wait a minute. There we go. This is exactly where I jumped in the trade. And now look at Avalanche ever since. I have taken more profit. I will, you know what? I'll take extra profit right here. We're going to just close another 20%. Nothing crazy, but putting $50 in the, in the pocket. Boom. What do you know? You got yourself a steak dinner right there. All right. Now I said, all right. Oh, we got to look at the gainers. We got to look at the losers. I heard there's a technique, a trick, DJ, not that kind of trick, not the kind for money, a trick to make sure your portfolio is not in the dumps. You know what it is?
What's that?
It's just hit the like button. That's all people got to do. Let's see. He's gone after I didn't take. It's been a minute since I was eating chicken salad. What's your favorite meat salad? Chicken or tuna, DJ?
Chicken salad for sure. I'm not a big tuna. I mean, I like tuna steak kind of stuff. Like if it's chunks of tuna, but like tuna fish generally.
Do you do sushi?
I love sushi. Yeah.
You love sushi. Okay. Yeah. I don't really eat raw fish, and I don't really eat tuna because of the mercury, but I have nothing wrong against fish. Let's see. Link, AVAX, killer moves. Near is neck. Crank is in some moves right now. Well, let's look at the biggest movers to the upside, and it is.
Hey, it is Floki. Look at that. Yeah. Should have put the video out last night, but you shot it yesterday.
Yeah, shot a Floki video yesterday telling people to buy Floki. We're not going to put it out till this evening. Folks, have on notifications. Make sure I'm so frustrated. I wanted to give you the alpha. I wanted to. And we just didn't get it out in time. Phantom is also up a whole lot. It is up 11.8%. Render is up 10%, and Chainlink is about up 10% as well. Shout out to the Link Marines.
Phantom's another one to keep an eye on there. I would say I'd put it kind of in a similar category as I do with Avalanche, where it was a layer one that did really well last cycle.
Oh, man.
What's that?
Market cap chart looks good too.
Yeah, it looks strong. It's got good DeFi on it. It's got good transactions and throughput. You know, it could very well compete with the likes of Ethereum, Solana. You know, very similar to Avalanche. That's why I put it in that category. So if it can get more network effect use case and or like dApps built on it and development outside of just DeFi, I could see as things move on chain. And again, I've got a feeling we're going to see some of these larger cap coins do very well this cycle.
I was going to say it passes DZ's metric where it had a second high in November relative to the April peak right there. Oh, that's actually October. This is the April peak. Wow, where it pumped, a little bit later, beginning part of May.
Yeah,
it's very, very. These are bullish signs that I'm seeing right now in the charts.
So I just say keep an eye on that one. I mean, that's another one that I feel like got a lot of talk and a lot of hype last cycle, and you don't really hear a lot of people talking about it right now. But Phantom, Avalanche, some of those I think could be really good performers in 2020.
Looks like you get on CoinW. Shout out to CoinW, by the way. And just kind of wondering if you could buy it on Coinbase. I'm not sure, but yeah, Phantom looking pretty good, everyone. All right, let's look at the biggest losers. I don't think there's anything else too much to the upside. Polygon, shout out to Polygon. Looks like they're doing it. And Fetch AI and the AI tokens look like they're doing pretty well. I did say AGIX is a fast horse. AGIX is up 10% today. So anybody jumped in on the AGIX, I think we were telling you to get in at 36 cents in the video just 2 days ago, something like that. So not too bad right there.
Nice.
All right, the biggest gainers. What about the biggest losers? And that is Helium and Toncoin and Tron. Tron starting to cool down. Sui starting to cool down as well. Aave also starting to cool down. Caspa. Then after that, pretty much into the green. Now,
but most of those even, I mean, maybe not ton, but most of the rest of them look like they're up pretty strong for the week, and they're just kind of pulling back off of pumps. So
yeah, nothing abnormal. You know, you're up 30% for the week. You might get 1 or 2% red day, and it's nothing outside of the ordinary means there. All right, so I did tweet out close some more 3:47 p.m. We're gonna look at this live. This is gonna be kind of fun. First, all right, so 3:47. Let me make sure I have that. 15:35, 15. All right, so maybe I'm like 1 minute off. All right, 4-hour candle. Did he nail it? Did he nail it within the 4-hour candle? I gotta hit the 4-hour candle, right? We definitely hit that. Let's see. Where's my the vertical line go? Wait a minute. Did we lose it? Oh, because we changed. Oh yeah, changed the time. All right, so
hey.
All right. Well, it looks like I can already tell. Well, 4 hours might play with you with the peaks here. We go to the 2-hour. Okay, starting to look good. Okay, still not looking terrible. Let's just jump down to 30 minutes. Okay, I mean, we're pretty close here, folks. Remember, this is when I told you to take profit. Let's keep shrinking these candles. Okay, so it looks like I didn't hit it exactly. Pretty dang close. These are 10-minute candles. And then just go down to the 5. All right, I mean, come on, y'all. Okay, DZ didn't call it perfectly.
But within about 10 minutes.
I mean, I did okay. Yeah. I think I did okay there. So that's where we ended up, taking some profit. If you got on those notifications on my X, congrats. You got in a pretty good spot. I wasn't DZ Stramus, but I was pretty dang close, folks. So, good job there. All right.
You've been nailing it lately. You've been on a roll with all those trades recently. So good job. Keep it up.
It might be. I don't know if it's because I'm trading with smaller amounts. I feel like it's I'm just trading off one strategy, and I've been doing the bull divs and the bear divs, and it's been working out well. When you get a lot of, also when you have a small amount, you don't mind. Yeah, you could try to wick me out. I got my stop loss super, super low. When you start trading with a lot more money, that's when you want those tight stop losses, and that's when you end up getting wicked out. So I might just stay with this strategy, smaller amounts of money. If I end up losing half a steak dinner, I'm okay because I've got 3 steak dinners in a row. So it ends up, moving up.
There's a lesson in that. That's a really good point, because a lot of people, and this is, if you're newer to trading, this happens a lot, where if you start stacking up wins and you find a strategy that works, like what DZ just said, he has a pretty simple strategy. It's working for him. But for whatever reason, a lot of people have the instinct to change something, to change up your sizing, to do it a little bit different. And it's like, you just said it perfectly. Hey, this is working. I'm going to stick with what's working for me. So many people, when it starts to work, they're like, all right, this is working. I'm going to put way more in, or I'm going to change up my strategy. And that's when you end up getting wrecked. So I think that's an important lesson there. When you find a strategy that works, stick with it. I mean, it won't work forever, but stick with it while it's working, and you guys hear me say this a lot, don't outsmart yourselves. Don't overthink it. Just keep doing what's working, and don't question it, and don't always feel the need. And again, a lot of us, we have big dreams and big aspirations, and that's why we're here in crypto. And so you want to realize more faster, but don't always double down, roll the dice bigger, gamble even more, because that's how you get wrecked. So
yeah, Disco fam, we're out here just staying alive. And TJ, I miss the perfect raw integration, because I said I like I'll eat some fish, but I only eat fish when it's cooked. I really won't eat fish when it's raw. I can't believe I missed that one. That's like 2 in a row. That was like, it was just handed to me on a silver platter, and I skipped it. So for the raw fans out there, I apologize. All right, now let's talk a little bit about crypto. Let's talk about the dollar collapsing. Then we're going to talk about Bitcoin and gold. I got some historical data for you that is going to leave you speechless. You might even be breathless. You're going to be gasping, reaching for your oxygen tank when I'm done with you. That didn't sound good. But let's, this is just a clip. I've shortened it a little bit. It's only going to be about a minute here. This is on CNBC, and one of my just increasingly favorite analysts out there, shout out to this NBC analyst, Joe Kernan, also known as Joe Squawkbox. Joe Squawkbox pulls out the mop, the bucket, and he just has a field day with this guy. Not that way.
But she didn't talk about, she was very clear about that. There's a huge difference between talking about competition and making sure that we address anti-competitive behavior.
If you look at grocery stores, the price margins are only 1-2%.
And Josh, that's not what caused the inflation. So, and for you to say it with a straight face, it doesn't help your cause at all.
But Joe, talking about, as a capitalist, I believe in competition and making sure that there's actual competition. You got states.
Why didn't the corporations raise? Why didn't the corporations gouge for 40 years? If that's what caused it.
Why is all of a sudden corporations are gouging? All of a sudden, there's all this massive corporate greed. Is this just a new phenomenon that we've seen over the past 3.5 years? And he brings up the low margin, or she brought up the low margins. Grocery stores sometimes only make 1-2% margins. There's some higher end ones that might make 5%. It's tight margins with grocery stores. It's not really price gouging. We got a video coming out this weekend where I go inside a Walmart and I do the sleuthing myself. I put on the investigative goggles and I literally go inside a Walmart to ask the question, is Target ripping us off? But essentially, that is not what you're seeing with this price gouging.
You go inside a Walmart?
Oh, Target. I go inside Target. Yeah, I go inside. I don't go inside Wally World. I go inside Target.
Yeah. How did it suddenly Walmart if Target's ripping you off? Of course they're going to say yes.
Well, they just blamed China, and I was like, wait a minute, this is where you get all your things from. All right, just about 20 more seconds here.
Happened. They learned how to gouge 3.5 years ago, and it went to 40-year highs on inflation. And when you talk about unifying, being where you are, you may be unifying intra DNC, but I can guarantee you that what we're seeing in policies coming out are not unifying policies. And you must know that in terms of the populist.
But Joe,
a lot of people, there's a lot of people out there, just blaming corporations, and there are evil corporations. Easy's not just some like super capitalist that a CEO in a corporation could do no wrong. Of course, corporations do wrong, but the biggest egregious corporations out there are the banks. The banks are the ones really out there price gouging. The banks are the ones who have a monopoly on money, and the banks are the one really controlling the financial system and bribing politicians to keep it the way that it is. But let's, speaking of banks, the banks are coming. Institutions are coming. $35 trillion US dollar collapse predicted to trigger a Bitcoin boom to rival gold. So we've seen it swung wildly in recent weeks, bouncing around the $60,000 level. Looks like we are now above 60K. As fears mount over the spiraling debt and Elon Musk warning of a dollar destruction that could bankrupt the country. Now, TJ, that's going to be a vague term that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But when you hear the dollar has been destructed, to you, what does that look like?
When I hear dollar destruction, I just picture that graph that shows kind of the US dollar buying power going down over the last 100 years. That's the image that pops up in my mind. But really what is just the endless amount of printing that just slowly erodes the buying power of the dollar. It's what we have been experiencing in this country for many years, and it's just increasingly sped up in the last, I'd say, 20 years, really since it really hit hyperspeed since 2008, and then again in 2020, and now we're experiencing it again in 2024, and those windows are getting closer and closer. So destruction of the dollar to me is just mass money printing and printing more spending more than we're producing by a long shot and getting deeper into debt and then paying more to service that debt. And it's just a spiraling cycle, which
we're seeing the destruction in real time, and they'll keep moving the goalposts. That's the term I use, is where, it's like, well, this is what recession means. Well, no, it no longer means 2 quarters of economic shrinkage. So now, we move the goalposts. I think they're going to keep doing the same thing to the destruction of the dollar. Today they report 5% inflation, 4% inflation, but we know it's a lot closer to 8%, sometimes maybe even 10%. We see it in our bills. We see it on the online ordering. You can't fool me when I say, replace this order and 2 years later, it's a 70% increase. Something's not adding up when you tell me inflation is 4%. So we know there's something going on in the background that just might not quite be honest. And gold is going to be a major catalyst for this, but I think Bitcoin is increasingly going to be a major catalyst for this, because governments are going to start buying Bitcoins. The banks are already buying Bitcoins. Governments are already buying Bitcoin. And folks, the question is, are you going to be buying Bitcoin to escape this rat race? I know I am. All right. So speaking fears of the dollar's collapse here, it became $1 trillion asset during a period in which the dollar was exceptionally strong. The decline in recent months comes as investors are waiting for Powell speaking tomorrow. This is going to be very big. And so traders also betting on continued U.S. spending that will push up the $35 trillion debt. We are deep, deep, deep in debt, or in deep doo-doo, as what's his face would say from Star Wars.
Yeah, and it's
Jar Jar Binks.
It's interesting to hear the conversation change, because when I was younger, there was a lot of kind of denial of the problems. Like, oh no, we can fix this deficit, or we can get we can balance the budget, all these different things. Now there's no talks about actually coming into balance, just controlling the landing, so to speak. And that's where I think Bitcoin is, like you said, you have to be buying Bitcoin now to get yourself out of this cycle, because nobody's denying this is a failing system. It's just a matter of how is it going to fail, and what are we going to do next, and what does the transition look like?
Yeah, what they'll say is, well, you didn't use a wheelbarrow to carry your cash to buy bread. Our dollar's not destructed. And be like, is that what we're at? We got to have like just confetti currency for it to be collapsed. No, we lose 10% a year. That is collapsing. Okay, there's compounding effects. Think of the opposite of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's so successful because the power of compound interest. Imagine the power of compound interest to the downside. It's also equally bad. All right, let's talk about gold and Bitcoin real quick. This is pretty fascinating. This vertical line is November 2004. And now, let me, maybe I'll play with the y-axis. This isn't, any kind of crazy stretching of the axis. This is 1990 we're looking at right here. So gold, relatively flat. Here's gold. And then this yellow line is gold ETF. Now, remember, we just got a Bitcoin ETF in January. And so these are weekly charts that we're looking at. So gold went sideways for about a year, I think, actually years. About a year. So this is November 05. So about a year, gold was not really doing much. Gold wasn't really exciting. Gold ETF launched. We go forward a year. Then all of a sudden, whoa, wait a minute. That thing just went off the charts there. All right, let's move it down. Well, surely there's a correction. And I didn't mean to call you Shirley, Chad. I'm sorry. But all right, so yeah, this thing keeps moving. Well, there had to be a correction, right? Okay, there's the correction. There's the correction. It keeps going down. No, wait, it keeps going up. Keeps going up. Keeps going up. Wait, but it cools down, right? No, it keeps going up. Keeps going up. Keeps going up. Oh my God, what is going on? That's gold today. And so you saw the power of the ETF. And this is Bitcoin. Click on Bitcoin real quick. Jeez, come on, mouse. This is when you want to sell. You saw what happened to gold. It took about a year after the ETF. This is the Bitcoin ETF, January 11th. You're going to sell now? This is when you exit the roller coaster. This is not when I'm going to exit the roller coaster, everybody. All right, gold did top $2,500, stealing the spotlight from Bitcoin. First time it has ever reached $2,500. What are your thoughts on gold hitting record highs while Bitcoin trading sideways?
I'm not too surprised. I mean, Bitcoin, a lot of times there is some correlation between Bitcoin and gold, but Bitcoin does generally lag a little bit. And obviously when you see uncertainty in the global economy, that's generally when you see gold rise. I think that's a really good example you just showed of how much it's been rising since the ETF, which is, you can really just think easier access for big money. I think we're going to see the same thing with Bitcoin. It's just now, like, it's still considered a risk on asset. It's less than a hedge. It's kind of in that hybrid category where it's a hedge and it's, kind of an emerging asset class. So I think it's going to be very popular with big money to hedge like gold, because not only is it hedging in times of bad, but it's also giving you a good upside in times of good. So I think it's going to be safer than a lot of treasury bills over time. It's going to give you upside and less downside. And as it matures, which we're seeing, and that's what the big money is seeing as well, is it's turning into an extremely desirable asset for big money. So I think I think we're going to see a similar run like what we saw with the gold ETF, where it just runs. There will be some pullbacks, but I do think the next bear market will be far diminished compared to what we've experienced.
Yeah, we still got a 10x to hit gold's market caps. That's a $600,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah,
we got Stuart Bell doing it right. I have over 100 goats, grow food and plants. Good job there. 100 goats. You're a full blown herder at this point.
Yeah, a lot of chat or a lot of talk in the chat about buying Bitcoin is good, but it's also good to do other things to prepare yourself. Have land,
metal, stocks, land, property.
Plants, like you said, animals, things that could basically, the more you can move towards being self-sovereign and not being reliant on the government or anybody else to live a happy life. That's one
of the easiest plants to grow. Potatoes. I have issues. My front yard deer will eat all our plants. So we got to put everything.
Deer can be a pain when it comes.
Deers
to
are jerks sometimes, and they make weird noise. they make weird noises and stuff. All right, let's keep moving on here. Gold. Global central banks have never been buying so much gold. Not even close. Net central bank gold purchases exceeded 1,000 tons, both 2022 and 23, the most annual purchases ever recorded. And what's awesome about this, normally you see record amount of purchases in fiat. This is record amount of purchases in physical gold. So this isn't like, oh, they spent a record amount of money, but in 1804, this Archbishop Duke bought more gold then, but when you adjust for inflation, no, this is the most amount of gold they've ever bought by weight. Central banks have been buying gold for 14 years straight. Jeez. That is huge right there. And TJ, I think we all know they are buying Bitcoin at the same time. In fact, I did a video on it. Where is it? Norway, Swiss central bank buying Bitcoin right now. 600K price target. It was actually 800 when I did the math there. So very, very bullish days ahead of us, with these central banks, but it might take time.
No, I think we are going to see that. We're going to see a long extended purchasing period for Bitcoin. And these are people that trade on a long time horizon. So I think we could see some disruptions to the typical pattern, but I do think it's going to be net long for the next 10, 12 years at least. So it's a good time to be. That's why I keep telling people when they're afraid to get into Bitcoin or they feel like they're late to Bitcoin, it's like, you're not. Like, there's still, you just got to, have a longer time horizon. This is going to be a net long trade for the next 10, 12, 15 years at least, if not longer. I
mean, it's like literally gold was invented. You were there when it was like seen as something valuable. Probably wasn't overnight. Land prices skyrocketed. A guy in a wife was homeless, sold Bitcoin for a 500K house. Turn your Bitcoin into something. I actually, I'll be honest with you. I normally don't share this too often. I don't have nearly as much crypto as I would like. I cashed out the vast majority of my portfolio in late 21, early 22 to buy properties. I end up buying, the house that I live in today. But yeah, I mean, I'm right now, so I'm still stacking, even though, we're deeper into the bull run and it was a lot better time to buy a year ago. I'm still a net buyer. In fact, I was just telling TJ, the last coin I accumulated was Avalanche. Got kind of lucky on that one. All right. This is Charlie Munger. He's 99 years old. He's a Bitcoin critic, famous investor tied to Berkshire Hathaway. And it's a safe assumption for an investor that is over the next 100 years, fiat currency is going to zero. What? What is he talking? It's only 18 seconds.
The safe assumption for an investor is that over the next 100 years, the currency is going to zero.
That's scary.
That's my working hypothesis.
Okay, so bearish on the dollar.
Wow.
Let's do that one more time.
Hold on. Give me a second.
It's a good wow.
Wow. Well, that'll be a different type of environment, won't it?
Yes, it will. Maybe it's a robot AI economy. I mean, who knows what the thing? Maybe we're all in the metaverse wearing haptic suits with the fifth sleeve. All right.
That's the whole say the quiet part out loud kind of thing. Like they're just not used to hearing that on mainstream. Like, my thesis is it's going to zero. And it's pretty hard to argue with when you look at like, hey, it happens every time over 100 years. So to say over 100-year time horizon, it's going to zero, it's like, well, that's consistent with history. So
yeah, I felt like it's a little bit of hyperbole. The previous currency was the British sterling pound, correct? And that's not to zero technically. I mean, they kind of swapped it to the euro. I mean, I guess if you count it that way. DZ got
but it's recovered. I mean, that's the thing. The crash of it is what kind of set up for the dollar and all that sort of stuff. So that's how one of those big families made a ton of their money shorting the pound when it collapsed back then. So
K-Jam is a good question. So, you're trying to tell people to buy Bitcoin. How do you explain to people that say, but it's so expensive right now that is going to go up forever and it doesn't trade like a stock? That typically is, it's a little bit too heavy a pill to swallow at first. And so what you got to do is you got to tell them a lie almost. And you say, yeah, but I know the next Bitcoin, and you tell them a coin that costs $1 or something.
No, the way I handle that,
but you do a good one.
I try to get them. I say it's not too expensive. You can buy $50 right now.
Okay, so you do the fractional piece of it. I mean, that kind of works too.
I get them to hold. Yeah, the trick.
I feel like we're too smart. Our audience is too smart. We got to remember, half the world, by definition, is dumb, right? Just dumber than average. So, right? You got the average guy. Half the world smarter than that person. Half the world smarter. So half the world is dumb by definition. It's not easy for them to even grasp a fraction of a Bitcoin, which is unfortunate, but that is the reality of our education system and just our world in general.
Yeah, that's where I start, is just helping you understand that, like, you don't have people, without even getting into the conversation of a whole Bitcoin, a fraction of, I don't even explain any of that. I just say, no, Bitcoin's not expensive. You can put as much in as you want. You have $20, you can put in $20. You have 50, you can put in 50. You have 200, you can, whatever amount you're thinking about spending on crypto, you can put it into Bitcoin right now. And then get them, if it's $50 or $100 or whatever the number is, get them to do it, hold it, and then watch it. And then they're invested in the price, and they're invested. They don't really care as much what the price of Bitcoin does. They care, my $100 went to 102 or went to 98 or went to 90 or went to $200, whatever happens with their money. And once you get them in that mindset, then they have another form of context against the dollar, because that's really all you're trying to create is, and that's one of the hardest things for people to grasp when it comes to currency, is they're all relative, right? It's really just a form of communication of value, and every currency is relative towards something else. And so until you have a baseline to measure against, and right now the only baseline they have is the dollar, it's very hard for them.
The best metric for that, by the way, it's the house one is pretty good, but I think the iPhone one is a lot better. It's just a lot more data points, because you can go through iPhone, I forget what number they're at. I think 4S when Bitcoin first came out, early part of 09, white paper 08. 10 and 09. The first iPhone you could buy with Bitcoin was like 500 Bitcoin, and then it was like 50 Bitcoin, and now it's you can buy a iPhone for a fraction of a Bitcoin. So that one just has a lot more data, so they can look at it and say, "Oh my God, this Bitcoin might be something."
On the House Productions wants you to spin the disco ball.
All right, here we go. You can reach it. It's got those long arms. That's all he has. All right, Bitcoin. No, he has some longs in his leverage trade. Bitcoin has never gone below the 200-week moving average in a bull market cycle, 6 months before to 8 months after the halving. And so just a pretty cool metric right there. Still not in any kind of danger zone right now, but you can see we do go below it in bear markets, and we tested it the previous bear market there. Daily HODL, this is pretty cool. Historical precedents, Bitcoin will likely reclaim 60K as support on the weekly before the rally. And I just wanted to show you this. Last time, after the halving, rally took 161 days. Right now, we're about 126 days. The smart people who could do the math, what do we got? 35 days. So we're about a month away from historical areas where things go giga bullish, giga pump.
So
the insane roller coaster could be a month away.
Yeah, it could be a month away, like right around the middle of September when the Fed cuts the rates. Huh.
Ooh.
Weird how that works.
Yeah, I like that. CEO, wait till Q4 2024 for Bitcoin prices to rally. That almost tracks too. So the CEO can get all his buddies in September. And so they wait for you're buying it in October. They're like, haha, we already pumped it. This is Ki-Young Ju, the CEO of Crypto Quant. You notice that the prices tend that prices trend to consolidate. I think he means tend to consolidate whenever the network have events. The sideways movement tends to last for the better part of the year before prices soar in the last quarter as the whales intervene. In the last bull cycle, prices moved sideways, only to inch higher in the last quarter of the year there. So we're getting pretty close. The quarter starts October 1st. TJ, that's spooky season. Chat, is it too soon for Halloween decorations today?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
I mean,
5 weeks?
5 weeks.
Oh, wait, no. Oh,
we're
God,
in
it's
August
the end of
still.
October.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it might be.
You got to at least be in September. In my opinion.
When's the earliest they can put up Christmas decorations? Is it after Thanksgiving, or you say like no, in early November?
I mean,
I'm a post Thanksgiving guy. I feel like that's what it was like in the 90s. I feel like they keep encroaching sooner and sooner.
It's true. I'm a traditionalist where it's like you know after Thanksgiving you can start doing Christmas stuff, and then you have until New Year's to get Christmas stuff down. I'm not a big fan of leaving Christmas up.
Hopefully I'm not getting too personal here. Is your wife one of those women that she likes spooky season, maybe likes to watch murder mysteries that keep you up at night?
No,
is she a murder mystery?
Neither one of us really do horror films.
Not a true crime, not a horror person.
No, I mean we like
You're
Halloween.
in crypto.
Stuff.
That's your horror.
Yeah, exactly. I look at the charts every single day, and that scares me enough. So
yeah, I wake up in cold with the Bybit sweats. All right, a year ago, Bitcoin was priced at 26K. Now it's 60K. That's 130% increase. This is what's interesting here. TradFi has purchased 1 million Bitcoin over the last 8 months. They will be expecting similar returns. I don't know, if they'll exactly expect 130%, but they see the insane volatility with Bitcoin, but that also gives us insane returns. And I think there's investors who are like, hey, this 1% of my portfolio, 5% of my portfolio, this is the risky Vegas, put it all on black. So I think there is a large percentage that they're not going to sell at a 10% pump, 20% pump. I think they are kind of waiting for that 130%, just insane inflow there. Speaking of inflows, $39 million in the ETF inflows. We now have 5 consecutive days, positive days for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin ETFs have just been crushing lately. And TradFi underestimates Bitcoin's enormous scale, according to Franklin Templeton.
I've heard this. So, and you're hearing this more and more from large hedge fund managers, large asset managers, people saying, this is getting underestimated. And it's baffling to me that we've made it this far and people still underestimate Bitcoin because we've seen so much progress over the years. But it's just now finally really getting out to the major financial players. And again, we're going to see a huge inflow of money over the next, 6 to 12 months.
It is never too early for Halloween. Everything you guys know. Let's see. I own every animatronic that's been sold for Halloween. I already dressing up the house. The reason I brought up Costco has a freaking 8-foot tall werewolf. Jeez. That is just insane. It's very loud. It's very jarring. You could be literally across the building. You're at the rotisserie chickens and you can hear it, and you like drop your gigantic bag of blueberries. You're like, what the heck's going on? Oh, it's just a robot werewolf. That's all.
Yeah.
Should this person trade their graded Connor Bedard? It's a 1 of 3. It's graded. Should he sell it?
For what?
Or what? I was thinking the same thing. Stuart, if you're putting it into a good, fast-moving crypto, I'm all for it. If you sold that and bought Chainlink, I don't think Future Self will hate you. Now, I don't know anything about baseball, so I don't know. Is Connor like the next, Hank Aaron?
Yeah, I'd sell it for Bitcoin, but that's just me. What I was going to say, excuse me, about Halloween stuff is I'm a fan of all holidays. Basically, I'm a fan of celebrating things. So I like decorations, seeing them going up and down and change. So that's why I want things to change. So I'm a big fan of whatever season it is. That's why I want to
buy
see
Bitcoin, not the werewolf. I agree. All right, back to Franklin Templeton though. This is super cool because she said Bitcoin processed $36 trillion in transactions last year, far more than Mastercard and Visa combined. I'm not the biggest fan of comparing Bitcoin to Mastercard and Visa. I think it'd be more about like gold flows or gold volume, but still pretty cool. That is just crushing Visa and Mastercard. So seriously here, in her conversation at the Wyoming Blockchain Symposium in Jackson Hole, Johnson said 30% of her day-to-day work is spent looking at disruptive technologies, and Bitcoin is that disruptive technology. Processing 36 trillion is pretty serious when you look at Mastercard, Visa, 9 and 14. So you add that together, 23.8. You're looking at a 50% increase right there. So Bitcoin not only crushing Visa, Mastercard, but crushing it in a serious way.
Well,
or go ahead.
No, it just goes to, I think the reason they compare is it just shows how much value is being transmitted. And that is
hockey.
That is the fundamental kind of use case of Bitcoin, is being able to transfer value borderlessly, permissionlessly, quickly. And it is growing at an exponential rate. So it's going to keep growing. And we got Gary the Lizard in here saying everybody needs to hit the like button. So appreciate that. We do have over 900 people in here, only 230 likes. If you guys could take a second, hit that like button. If you're on a TV, use the remote, do more actions, more options. On a cell phone, sometimes you have to exit out of the live chat to see it, because with the live chat going, it blocks it, or turn your phone sideways. I know that's what I have to do. It probably just depends on what version you're on. But if you guys could do that, it makes a huge difference. And let's get that Bitcoin price up over 100,000.
Jaime Gonzalez, God no. I kind of have a thesis for the bull run for sports cards. Who do you say is the most famous person when it comes to sports cards? Like an influencer, not an athlete.
Like collector?
Yeah.
Sports cards?
Yeah.
I mean, the person that comes to my mind that's been talking about it for a while is Gary V.
Yes. Yeah. Gary V. Gary V is also closely aligned with crypto. Yeah. I think he has a pretty good audience that overlaps both. I do think we're going to probably top out crypto cycle Q3, Q4, 2025. Typically, that's when you see, I saw it in 2017 with Magic the Gathering alpha cards, reserve list cards. Saw it in 2021 with the Gary V, buying all those Charizards. So we saw it with Pokemon. And I think the sports cards is getting a little bit more popular as more and more people do fantasy football and things like that and sports betting. And so my thesis for sports cards, I think they're going to top out kind of almost like altcoins, maybe a month or two after Bitcoin's peak. What do you think of that thesis?
I think it's a solid thesis. I think it's actually has, because there's similar fundamentals behind collectibles as there are with Bitcoin and crypto right now. It's just kind of in speculative assets, so to speak. I think it has a lot to do with the global liquidity. If you look at the global liquidity going in and out with those same years, Bitcoin price tracks along with it. And that's when you see, it's basically when you see wild speculation in the markets. The cheaper the money is and the more that there's money flowing in, the more likely you are to see people taking risks, flipping things. That's when a lot of the side, sneakers, for example, probably very similar. You can flip sneakers around those same prices, and they peaked in 2017, 2021, and probably 2025.
Since bought Jordans at the top, sold at the bottom. Well, are you ready to see a M2 money supply chart that will get you hardly able to breathe?
Yeah.
Because it's so bullish. Why am I like this? Anyways, Bitcoin M2 versus M2 Global Liquidity Index. And it's maybe a little bit difficult to see.
Chart, by the way.
Say what?
I said I didn't even know you were about to show this chart.
Yeah. Hey, man, maybe I put a little segue here for you. This is a little uptrend. All right. So you can see the money supply. It kind of creates like a little bit of a trend line, and then it just smashes through the trend line. We just got done creating another trend line, and we just got a good candle above it right here. These are monthly candles. We're not talking about, a daily, a 25-minute candle. These are monthly candles. So breaking this trend line, we can close, maybe one or two more monthly candles, because you see that one right there. The third one tried to get red, tried to wick it down, but the M2 money supply is hugely bullish for Bitcoin. And so, when you see the breakout here, Bitcoin had a breakout. When you see the breakout here, Bitcoin had a breakout. And I think Bitcoin's going to have yet another breakout from this. So very, very bullish stuff happening with the money supply. The money printer machines are about to go crazy. We're seeing them buy records amounts of gold, and they're buying gold at the top. So if they don't care buying gold at $2,500 an ounce, don't even do the math on what a ton is, let alone they're buying like 80 tons. Do you think they're going to care if Bitcoin is 60K, 80K, 160K? No, they're still going to want to just, print money to buy a hard asset. Bitcoin is that hard asset. We'll be at 40 trillion in debt by this time next year. I would say that's doable for sure in a bad way. We all like it when you got to be like, I don't have to be. That's the problem. I don't have to be. It's like I'm choosing. All right, let's get into a little crypto policy here. I want to try to be fair, of course. Tim Scott floats creating digital asset focused panel if he chairs the Senate Banking Committee. He was in talks to potentially be a running mate for Trump. Ended up not being him. I would say he's pretty well known for being a good speaker. He's a pretty good orator there. So he might be leading. He's a pro crypto candidate who might be chairing Senate Banking Committee. So it'd be good to have a pro crypto candidate in there. Kamala advisor says VP is open to crypto. So just getting some good news here as well. Her senior campaign advisor cited the need for rules for that sort of industry, but the statement was hailed as a breakthrough. We got some a crypto analysis here too. Nelson. All right, the comments from Brian Nelson. This is a senior advisor on policy on Kamala Harris's campaign. Came at a Bloomberg roundtable event at the DNC event taking place in Chicago. She's going to support policies that ensure that emerging tech and that sort of industry can continue to grow. Obviously, they expressed that one of the things they need are stable rules of the road. Here wrote Adam Cochran, pretty prominent. I would say that he is a prominent crypto analyst. This is the first official statement from the Harris campaign about crypto in any capacity, and it is a positive one. I guess that's true because they had the how many pages was it, and it had 0 mentions, right? And so Correct. They were saying that was kind of a statement by not having a statement. But yeah, this is the first official statement. It is a positive one. Let's acknowledge that's a huge step. I've been working hard to push for a reset on crypto. I'm thrilled about this policy statement, said Willie Nickel. All right, but I think there's some critics here, maybe have a different take. Nick Carter, maybe remember him from Variety Combat, famous Bitcoiner, posts a lot, a lot of followers here, 384,000. This isn't her words. He's paraphrasing. Look, I understand that I'm currently in power and have the ability to change literally anything regarding our max hostile anti-crypto policy, but instead of doing that, I'm going to make extremely vague promises about potentially changing things later. Maybe. You'll forgive me for not buying this phony pivot for a single instant. So he's not buying it. Adam Cochran, he's saying this is a major positive step that we should acknowledge. I think the truth is obviously somewhere in the middle. TJ, what's your take here?
Yeah, I mean, he comes out and he's been very defensive of their policies the whole time, but it's more just look at the actions of what they do. And that's the biggest thing that I've seen. And that's what I think a lot of the heavy crypto thought leaders are on, is like, there's been an assault against crypto for 4 years. Like, can you just stop? Don't talk about what you might do in the future. Just stop attacking us. It's pretty, like, right now you're actively attacking us. Stop. If you actually have any positive feelings towards our industry, stop the assault on our industry. It's pretty cut and dry. Don't talk about what you might do in the future. Just stop what you're doing right now.
Yeah, they had the Crypto for Harris policy event. I can't remember who said it, but they said, raise your hand if you're still getting enforcement actions from banks, and everybody raised their hand. So currently, as is, they are under assault.
Operation Choke Point was a thing. Operation Choke Point 2.0 is still a thing, and it's still ongoing. So until that stops, there's really no point in talking about what good you're going to do in the future. Like, it's very clear you're just trying to garner support for the next few months, and then you're going to go back to business as usual. You've been operating under this capacity for the last 3.5 years. You're not just going to, and then you're saying, I might pivot, I might change my mind in the future. It's like, okay, well, how about stop doing what you're doing right now? So real quick, 2 belts, 3,
huge. Grayscale, breaking news, breaking. I'm going to type in here, see if we can see some breaking news. Avalanche is now, Grayscale Investments today announced the creation and public launch of Grayscale Avalanche Trust.
Yeah, thanks for the super chat. Spin that. I guess we got to spin
we got to spin it.
Spin the disco ball for the...
Now, I didn't have any inside info when I longed Avalanche, but what I did have was the market, the relative strength index. Right now, I'm just kind of curious, 263% in profit. So that's a 3.6x right there. I've been peeling back. You saw in the beginning of the stream, I took off more profit. It looks like it's been heading down. So, we might get lucky again here. But it was in the charts. Show me the charts. I'll show you the news. I used to think that was just a bunch of hokey. But the more I've been involved in trading, the more I'm starting to see it. The markets were buying it as the price. So the markets were saying there is strength here. And then I would suggest that, hey, maybe some insiders were front running this. The market showed it. The indicator showed it. I tried to show it to you. We longed it. We're making money. So congrats everybody who jumped in on that trade. All right, presidential worth. Have you seen the presidential worth before or after?
No, I haven't.
Oh, well, you're in for a surprise. All right. I'll go by date here. George H.W., he went from 4 million to 23 million. After that was Bill Clinton. 1.3 million to 241 million. That's a huge jump.
Yeah.
Clinton Foundation. Woo, man, they got some good 5-star meals to that takeaway there. George Bush, that's George Jr., 20 million to 40 million. I want to know Dick Cheney's. Then we have Barack, 1.3 million to 70 million. Then we have Donald Trump, 3 billion, the only one to go down to 2.3 billion. What are your thoughts here? Actually, my fiance brought this up. She's like, they said it was in response to someone saying, everything's a grift. It's like, isn't he the only one who lost money? I was like, that is a good point. Well, what are your thoughts of him reducing his net worth or his net worth being reduced?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a shock that this has cost him a lot. His life would have been a lot easier if he was just after money. Things would have probably been a lot easier if he stayed out of politics, where that same can't be said for a lot of these other people. And you can see if, I'd be really interested if some of those don't even include foundations and other things that these people have going on. Those are just their personal net worth. So yeah, obviously, many politicians are in it for themselves, not saying he isn't. But yeah, it's definitely cost him a lot, not just financially, but, just all the legal that he's had to deal with for the last several years has been insane. So I do believe he is trying to do what he thinks is right and what's best for the country. I think there's a reason many other billionaires stay away, even if they're capable. They don't want to deal with the headache. So they'll just let their money do the work for him.
Some say he has his ear to the streets. He's listening. All right. Someone had a question here. Let me roll up. Avalanche, Link, Dot. Which one? Says Jeff. I'm just been a Link Marine, and that's probably, I'm a biased person when it comes to those three coins. So it's tough for me to give you a fair shake there. But I think all three are going to do pretty well, 5 to 10x. Yeah, I think so. All right, Publix, I kind of want to give you the DZ takeaway here because there's something not being reported. Public Citizen Report criticizes crypto's political influence in 2024 U.S. elections. They actually spent more than anybody, and they have they've outspent everybody since 2010, which is very surprising. And so they're alleging that the crypto sector is exploiting the Citizens United ruling, which allows political spending to just be unlimited, even from foreigners. Nearly 48% of corporate contributions, amounting to 248 million, have come from the cryptocurrency industry, making it the top corporate spender this year. Analysis highlights crypto industry spending over the past 3 cycles, totaling 129 million. This represents 15%. This is what I found crazy. It's usually fossil fuel companies. They say fossil fuel companies have only spent 176 over the past 14 years, but crypto has spent 248, all basically in the last 4. What's interesting here, though, is what's not being reported. There's a lot of work that doesn't go to, some of these super PACs, and there's a lot of work a lot of money goes to NGOs and public think tanks. And I think the oil industry, tobacco industry, years past, I think they're a lot more mature when it comes to playing this political game of hide the dollar. And, when you have an NGO and you're paying a former president and helping their net worth, jump and just balloon for, come here, speak for 20 minutes. And, here's a giant check. We don't want any favors in the future. They've learned how to play the game. And so they're not just spending that money, I don't want to say foolishly, but naively. And I think the cryptocurrency sector is, that would be my guess.
I wonder
or
how much
they're not reporting what like pharmaceutical companies, or they're just not reporting all the money coming in.
Yeah, I agree.
Which could be the case there.
Different ways to donate to campaigns that older industries have figured out. But I am curious how much of that is from FTX. Like how much of that crypto money is all the FTX
Oh my
stuff.
God, you just blew this thing wide open, TJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually a large amount. Could be Sam Bankman-Fried, the Fried Man, the Polycule, the Polycule poltergeist. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with the P word there. Guy in the comments, this is Ivan. Got a little flack. Folks, I don't try to be like Mr. One Side here, Mr. One Side there. I do just try to report the just things accurately, fairly, middle of the road. I think you guys appreciate that. But Ivan's been getting some flack. They tell him, Ivan, stay in your lane. Don't speak about politics. Bro, politics literally invading our crypto lane.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's a good take there. I just wanted to talk about crypto, but politics encroached into my space. Now I'm just talking about that. This is kind of scary news. The share of people who believe they'll become unemployed jumped to 4.4%, the highest on record. There's a surge from the 2.8% that we saw. At the same time, the number of workers searching for a job has increased to 28.4%, the highest since the survey began a decade ago. It's also up 9 percentage points from the number recorded in July 23. Further evidence the labor market is weakening. It's not weakening in all sectors and all demographics, but we're not going to get into that. U.S. state could launch its own stablecoin in the beginning of 2025. TJ, I told you it was a state, so we're talking about the U.S. stablecoin. You want to guess what state?
Let's see.
Guess the state.
Yeah, chat can guess. I have a pretty.
It's not California.
No, I mean the one that makes the most sense, just as a logical guess, would be Wyoming with Cynthia Lummis.
All right, if it wasn't Wyoming, what's your dark horse pick?
Florida.
Yeah. I didn't mean to quote Taylor Swift there. My fiance, she's a Swiftie, and so I hear the songs often. Okay, Florida.
Florida.
That's a song. Yeah. Florida. Florence and the Machines, as the guest sings. Florida, gotcha. Flow. It makes sense. Let's see. This week's show's been great. Thanks for the dynamic. Raul San Miguel, thank you. We got the wrench in Texas, there too. Thank you for helping us out.
Texas is another good pick that the chat's coming in with.
Hawaii, Alaska, Texas. Yeah, a lot of people. Virginia, Iowa. Isn't Iowa real corrupt? No, that's Illinois. I'm thinking Illinois.
Yeah.
Capital gains. Oh, we went hard on the capital gains tax yesterday. So watch yesterday's stream if you haven't. Montana. A lot of people saying Texas. TJ was right, y'all. TJ was right. It was Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon. And that's cool to know that the governor is, and their one of their two senators is very pro-crypto, highlighting the state's commitment to blockchain technology and unveiling a state-backed stablecoin. This is what's crazy. Due to release next year, maybe in time for a bull market top. And so they said it will be supported by U.S. T-bills and repurchase agreements. And they used this opportunity to criticize the government's response to the GFC, Great Financial Crisis. Also criticize the Fed Reserve System. Careful doing that and don't get on any big cruise ships later. Initiative has sparked discussions about potential conflicts within the Fed Reserve there. But yeah, that would be huge. Wyoming, I would agree. I think Wyoming could be one of the first ones because also the least populated state. So maybe that makes it a little bit easier as well. Maybe it makes sense. There's less banks to do paperwork, maybe less corporate interests, maybe less Wall Street interests fighting you or lobbying against you. And we talked about this before, how stable coins are going to have to help prop up the US dollar. They literally have to prop up this failing dollar. That's why we have it in the title here. Because right now, stable coins hold 1% of the T-bills today, but that could soon grow to 15%, ranking them in the top 3 holders. Number one here, Tether with the $80 billion when it comes to stablecoins. JP Morgan, U.S. Treasury money market. So this is number 1, JP Morgan. Number 2, BlackRock. Number 3, Fidelity. Then Goldman Sachs. Then Vanguard. So it's all just big banks propping up the dollar. Well,
here. What do you notice about all those banks?
They're all. I mean, they're probably holding it for people, is one thing. They're all connected to what some might call the deep state.
They've all also shifted their stance on Bitcoin recently. Most of them, you take JP Morgan
all
out,
pro Bitcoin now.
But BlackRock, Fidelity, most of them are holding Bitcoin ETFs or, have Bitcoin related products that they're offering to their customers. And that's all changed very recently.
All right. Crypto Crank. Florida is amazing. Just got back from a 2-week vacation. We want to buy a house there. People who know Florida, where should they buy it? It shouldn't be Miami. You don't want to do the Panhandle. Probably don't want to do the Keys. I think the Orlando area is not bad.
Tampa. A lot of people talking about.
A lot of people like Tampa.
Yeah, outside of Orlando, but a lot of people talking about the Tampa area these days.
Chat. What do you think? What is up? I've driven through the Panhandle when I was a child. What is the Panhandle? Is it like just redneck city, bunch of mosquitoes? No. Is it like Tiger King land? What's the deal with it? Have you been to the Panhandle?
I mean, I'm sure I have. I mean, I don't think there's what's wrong with the Panhandle.
I don't know. I just hear people like it's not the popular part of Florida. That's for sure. Clearwater, isn't that where Hulk Hogan's from? Fort Lauderdale. St. Pete is the place to be.
Yeah. I mean, Clearwater, St. Pete. That Tampa, they're all kind of in that same, kind of in the arm, the
Someone said good luck with insurance in Florida. Yeah, Florida and California having a lot of issues with insurance. The Villages, Gainesville. Florida sucks. Just stay out of Florida. Check his VPN. He's posting from Florida. Tampa growing great. Pensacola. All right. Pensacola great. Panhandle. No one's defending Panhandle except Dan. All right. Chart. All right. This I haven't checked this yet. I want to look at this with fresh eyes with you guys. What sports do crypto firms care about? And I'm sorry I'm making you type a bunch of stuff. Tell me your favorite sport. Tell me your favorite sport. We'll see if there's a little alignment. I will go first. I don't really watch sports anymore. I'm not going to say esports. That sounds too nerdy. I should just, I guess I am a crypto analyzer though. Basketball. Yeah. It's basketball.
Basketball, nice.
What about you?
Sports to watch. It's tough. Obviously I'm a Falcons fan. I like to watch the Falcons. So
Curling?
NFL.
No,
I don't watch as much as I used to, but I have a feeling when it comes to these crypto sports, these are going to be international sports.
Hockey, poker.
Someone
else said esport, AFL.
Yeah, I think the crypto sports are going to be like Formula 1 and World Cup, soccer, things that are big all around the world.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see here. They have football, basketball, Australian football. What do they mean? Rugby, esports, motorsports, golf, arena field naming, hockey, and cricket. FTX users like cricket? I would have thought that was more of an Indian exchange there. Football, do you think they mean soccer for this particular?
That's a good question.
Probably not. I don't know. Well, they have Bybit, Coinbase. I'm noticing American companies here. So I know it's called soccer. It's called football. It's called American Gridiron if you're overseas there. Crypto marketing firms have been vying for the eyes, soccer, karate, combat, UFC, hockey. Man, I watched one UFC top knockouts of the year, and then YouTube's just like, oh, you want to watch more concussions? Nothing but UFC on my feed lately. Paid millions to rename arenas, display their branding, decided to look where the eyeballs are for the crypto-hungry firms, and just making a quick glance here. All right, so Binance, where'd Binance go? Binance looks like, they're going soccer. All right, so they meant soccer. So Binance is soccer. Bybit looks like it's also soccer. Soccer, crypto.com. Let's see here. Football, they're just going everywhere. But UFC probably is going to be their major one there. And then Coinbase looks like they're going with basketball. So you know what? They're going all over the place. And it looks like where's your target audience or where's your customer base? And then that's going to decide. Because, the globe, the whole globe likes soccer except for Western countries or just America, right?
Yeah. It's even grown a lot in the US in the last few years. So.
Yeah, I liked it as a child, but I grew up, in Texas and just, a lot of Hispanics in the school. So, we're ahead of the curve there. Hockey is the only sport you can smash another player and not have an issue. The polycule, you can smash another. Anyways. All right. Crypto airdrops ban US users, but Americans are claiming tokens anyways. Do we have a VPN in the link?
I don't know. Maybe. Then let's see.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Nope.
Yeah, people are just using VPNs.
Yeah, no VPN in the link.
No
today,
VPN. I use, I think, Unlimited. What do you use?
I've used a few over the years. I think Blue or Nord.
Okay, a lot of people like Nord. I saw this. I kind of want to bring this up just to say this. Cybersecurity experts say your VPN is useless because that is not the primary way they track your location. They track your location with your hardware digital IDs. And so it's like, I think it might be VID, like hardware VIDs, but like, your hardware has a signature, and then so that's supposedly like how they're just tracking everything here. So you can just keep changing your VPN if you're using the same computer. They just know it's the same person every single time. Prometheum adding Uniswap and Arbitrum to its custodial ranks. We've done a lot of looking at Arbitrum, but I haven't looked at Uniswap in a while. So I want to do a little live look at Uni. Uni is at 4.6% right now. If you look at the max chart, I think it has some token dilution. It's a $5 billion market cap, but they were above 20. That's showing you a 4x if everything stays the same. $40 was its peak. I think it wicked up pretty close to $50 actually, maybe 45. Right now you can get it for $6.89. I am bullish on Uniswap. If you look, 75% of the token is out, and it's one of the few crypto protocols that just literally prints money. The problem is they keep upgrading ETH, where the transaction fees keep lowering. And then as the fees lower, it's like, it's one thing you got a gas fee, and it's, let's just say you're doing a $100 trade. Gas fee at one point was like 40% of the trade. That's why you want to do a lot more money. And so if you got gas fees that are $40, an exchange can hit you with the 2%, a 1%. But as gas fees get lower and lower and lower and lower, and then you got more DEXs and centralized exchanges competing, they got to basically start lowering the transaction fees, or I'm sorry, whatever the liquidity pool payouts. So it's just making it more equitable, making it cheaper. So as ETH gets cheaper across the board, is Uniswap doomed, DJ, or is it just enough volume they'll still make it?
That's a good question. I mean, they'll still make it. It's just will it reflect in the token price? Is that the question, or will Uniswap make it as a company?
Will it reflect in the token price? That's what people care about.
Yeah, I think that's a tougher question. And I know they did just change the way they handled the fees and some of that sort of stuff. But yeah, Uniswap will remain viable. And as more transactions pick up, that it is a volume play. I mean, that's what Ethereum is based on, essentially. But yeah, I think the major gains in the token, we saw those happen obviously over the last few years. I think that's going to be the largest majority, but I think it'll stay viable. It's just not going to be, it's not going to be the fastest mover. And that's what's so tough in this space is a lot of the very strong, stable on-chain things that'll probably do well over the next several years and have staying power aren't going to get the flashy gains in the short term. And so you have to kind of decide what type of investor you want to be. I do think it will slowly start to transition to these more stable projects. Again, we've talked about it the last few days with things like Aave and Curve. They haven't been the fastest movers throughout their entire existence, but they've been slow and steady and stable and continuing to move up and continuing to build relevant value. And as the market gets more mature and sophisticated, that's where value creation is what's going to get rewarded. And I do think Uniswap provides a valuable service. So
that's a great way of putting it. ETH dead in the title. That means it's going up. Well, I'm about to talk about ETH is dead and how I don't think it is. And could Near hit $25, the market cap of $26 billion? I think Near could hit $50 billion market cap. Solana hit 80 over 100 last cycle. So 50 is in the cards for Near. Bitcoin dominance over Ethereum at a 40-month high, meaning ETH hasn't been this weak against Bitcoin in almost 4 years. What will it take for an ETH breakout? I think we're waiting for the ETH outflows for Grayscale to be done. And then I think that's when we're going to start to see ETH start to gain against Bitcoin. I've long been saying that. It's taken a little bit longer to sell the Grayscale ETH than it did versus Bitcoin. I want to remind everyone that despite all the FUD about ETH supposedly being dead, mid, and a chain no one uses, it still brings in more fee revenue on a daily basis than anything else in crypto. And that's not including app layer or L2s. ETH one-day fees, 5 million, Bitcoin, about half that. Then Uniswap, then Aave, then BNB, and then Maker. So a lot of the things we've been talking about. And MakerDAO pulling in so many fees helps explain what happened to the CEO as he was found in the water. All right, I probably shouldn't even bring that up. ETH Rainbow chart predicts ETH's price for 2025. Another article I purposely did not look at because I want to live react with you guys here. So where are they going to say ETH is going to go? I will scroll through
10 to 12K. I'd take that.
All right. So the ETH Rainbow chart prediction. Here we go. So the fire sale, maximum bubble at the highest. All right. So we got, we're still in the cheap band, which is 2,000 to basically 3,000. And that's the range there. 10K is the chart right there. So 10K was that zone. It looks like it goes even higher. If we go to the accumulate zone, that's 1,400 to 2. All right. Steady, 3K to 4,200. HODL, 4,200 to 6,000. Is this the flippening? 6K to 9K.
Nice.
And then we have, but have we earned it zoned? $9,000 Ethereum to a $12,000 Ethereum. But then there's the bubble territory. Did we hit bubble territory last time? We did not. We did that cycle, but we did not that cycle. So probably, be dubious thinking it's going to go this high, folks. The maximum bubble territory, 12,000 ETH to a $18,000 ETH. I do not think ETH can crack 10K this cycle. I think it gets close. I think it wants to. I think there's just too much sell pressure as we get closer to 10. What do you think?
I think it can. I don't think it's a guarantee, but I think it absolutely has the ability to. It's not. I mean, it's been at 4,500 pretty quick. I could see it moving to 9 from 4,500 range to 9 really fast. So yeah, I definitely think it has the ability to. Will it? It's not guaranteed. We'll just have to wait and see. A lot of it has to do, obviously, with what Bitcoin does. But yeah, if we're seeing Bitcoin up in the higher six figures, closer to 200 than 100, I think, we're seeing Ethereum definitely pushing and flirting with 10K, if not going beyond. So.
I like it. Chad, if you want to put in your ETH predictions, I might read out some of the ones I agree with.
Sauce Boss says it'll easily go from 10 to 20K. Somebody says 12K. So ETH won't hit 8K. No way. KJM says, I think it's a lot of people kind of put it in that somewhere between 6 and 12, which obviously is a huge range. But I think that's where the consensus is. So if you just kind of go somewhere in the middle of that, 9K, 9,500, anything like that.
This one's for you, TJ, from Stubert, not the small mouse. Any thoughts on Cosmos going above 100?
Going above
going to 100, sorry.
To $100. Where's it sitting at right now?
Let's see. We got to type in
it's at $5,
the molecule.
Basically.
We got to type in atom here.
Yeah. That'd be a big move for it, obviously.
That'd be a big move.
All-time high is about 44. I think it could 10x from here, get back to new all-time highs. They've had a hard time with the price, with the way the governance works and the tokenomics. So they've had a hard time getting consensus. I know they had an issue where the founder, that forked away from what the founder originally intended on some of that sort of stuff. So I think it does well providing a service of decentralized governance as a layer 0. There's some competition in that space. I think they do a pretty good job. But can it hit 100? No, I don't. I think that's a little on the optimistic side.
All right, Jace, 13K. John, 7.5. Ethan, 50K. Ethan, you might be very bullish. Bad Fox wants to flirt with 15K. Lewis, 8K. So, a lot of people coming in this 8 to 10K Vatican as well. All right, Chainlink. All right, Link Marines. If you're a Link Marine, hit that like button. Where are we on likes, TJ? All I'm asking is people to do this, man. It's not that hard.
Yeah, 335 likes. So, we should easily cross 400 today if everybody does it now.
All right, I want 420. Yeah. All right, Chainlink traders see gains as daily profit ratio surges. So we saw a surge in daily profits with profit loss ratio hitting 7.26, highest since January. 63% are still at a loss. That's a shocking number right there. 63% of the Link Marines are just, still not super happy. Let's just check in on Chainlink. It's around 20 in the crypto market cap. It is 18 right now. It is up 10% at this point. Oh my God,
Let's go, Chainlink.
Are we pumping still? Are we still pumping? What's Avalanche doing? The Avalanche, okay, dude, did I call the profit?
Hey,
am I a profit for profit? I might be, folks. I might be, because other coins all-time high. I might have called that Avalanche profit there. Let's see. We got the rainbow chart. We got the Chainlink news. David, Chainlink, another major with a solid reaction from a high trading frequency support here. If Link is going to continue with this strength, then it's probably time for the entire market, including Bitcoin, to reverse for good. We don't want Link to lead the market there. Ton seeing a 7x surge in active addresses, but it's since July 2021. I actually think that's bearish. I feel like that should be higher than 7x. What do you think?
7x.
That's July 21 too. Not even like April 21, November 21, October 21. That's the bear market area of 2021.
I think that's not necessarily bad. That 2021 is when there was a lot of people active in the market. That's probably close to its
that's true.
Peak.
Good point.
That's probably what they're comparing to is when they peak. What was their peak active addresses before? And it might have been July of 2021. So if they're 7x what their previous peak is, that would be pretty good. So I'm seeing a lot of increased usage on the Ton network. And I've said earlier in the year, and I still believe that it's going to be one of the active chains this cycle. Again, Tron and Ton on the Eastern front, and kind of like what Base is and what we're seeing from Ethereum and some of that stuff on the Western front. So, yeah.
All right. Interesting data point. I got a Bera chain. Testnet had 2.7 million transactions yesterday. Just be careful about Testnet transactions. That's more than Blast had during its all-time high day. You could get 7 people to, act like a lot of people. So just be careful. All right, now we got the McDonald's news. McRugged, the McBurglar struck McRugged. If you haven't heard this story, this is the craziest story of the day. Hackers took over McDonald's Instagram. They made almost $1 million on a fake Grimace token. They put the meme coin in front of some 5 million of their followers before pulling the rug and flaunting their gains. Senior employee appeared to suffer a social media hack on Wednesday that allowed the culprits to promote short-lived Solana meme coin there. It was called the Grimace token. If you're a holder, drop your Instagram handles. We'll follow you on the official McDonald's account. That's pretty funny there. I don't think everybody who bought thought it was real. I think a lot of people bought it knowing it was hacked, but thinking normies were going to come in. Some pretty strong language. I don't want to, copy anything here, but they put pretty sharp, dark language there. But this is what's funny. DGen gets rug pulled by a hacked McDonald's account. Now has to get a fast food job at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I was also thinking I think there's a high number of fast food employees just do some meme coin trading, right? Not all of them, but I think there's a lot of younger, late teenage age, just some degens, they're working at Chick-fil-A, they're working at McDonald's. There had to be, right? There had to be someone who got rugged by McDonald's and then had to go clock in at McDonald's. That's pain.
That's pain.
That's pain for sure. I'm stealing a box of fries if that happened to me. I'm stealing the chicken nuggies. Second Neuralink patient does 3D design and is now playing Counter-Strike. They said it's almost like a hack. So shout out to what they're building over there.
I actually saw that clip of the person playing Counter-Strike.
Yeah, he aimed pretty well.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. I was kind of wondering how it works and like what the lag time is between. And
it said it's less. It said it's faster than your hand. It kind of moves there before you think it.
That's so weird.
But
how?
if you think free will is a thing, it doesn't make it doesn't make a lot of sense. If you do think free will is fake, like I do, I don't believe in free will on any kind of real sense because we're just have wet computers that receive inputs are going to have the same outputs. It makes perfect sense. It makes all the sense in the world. But folks, that is what we got for the day. It was a great show. We went a little long just because you guys are so awesome. I appreciate it. Hit that like button. We don't ask for much, but I do ask for that. And tonight, I'm so mad I didn't get you the Floki video. It pumped, but I don't think the pump is done, folks. I saw it in the charts. Just watch the video. See what I think it's going to pump. See where it's at right now. And, just answer for yourself. Do you think there's still gains ahead, folks? So that's going out tonight, 8 p.m. Have on notifications. I appreciate you hanging out. We'll see you folks in the future.